Welcome to Strip Cover Lit. I'm Adrian Fort.
And I'm Dalton Gentry.
And we are here with a review. Dalton, what are we reviewing this time?
This is poetry, but this is different. We haven't tackled this gentleman yet. This is Rumi.
Yeah.
Some very ancient poetry from Love's Ripening. Rumi on the Heart's Journey.
Yes.
Lovely book that we picked up for our book haul. We are going to be reviewing The Face of That Beauty. You want first whack at it, or?
You always take first whack.
You hate me. The face of that beauty. It was just a glance, but it became a fountain that drowned my heart. If the power of that love made me seem like a pagan, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? That goblet of ruby-colored wine, that life-bestowing water, that insight of eternal karma, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? The calm and peace of cheerful souls and the shade of those interwoven curls in the feasting and festivity of the great king, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? We lost our colors in the light of your hue 1,000,000 miles beyond the world of existence. The moment our souls become such idiots, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? In love an army has risen up under the shade of the king's canopy, and if my heart has fallen down along the way, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? Bending over in sorrow like the new moon, running headlong, face down like the shadow, hearing the call from within, the realm of hearts, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? When the moon burned up Jupiter and broke into pieces the idol of a czar, then, if the heart chose infidelity, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? If 18,000 worlds, O soul, were filled with my ramblings, and with that flame of my inward state, O soul, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? If we could do justice to the path of love, and if our joy could be worthy of that moonlight and sunshine, and if we opened our eyes afresh onto that love, wouldn't it be for the face of that beauty? And by that wine whose fragrance caused my drunkenness, and all the wine glasses we smashed, and when we became free from the disgrace of self, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? The garden came alive in union, with a spring more beautiful than all 4 seasons, and shams of Tabriz as its very essence, wasn't it for the face of that beauty?
Very good.
Thank you. I
Still
tried.
wrong.
I know.
It was just a glance, but it became a fountain that drowned my heart. If the power of that love made me seem like a pagan, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? That goblet of ruby-colored wine, that life-bestowing water of life, that insight of eternal karma, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? The calm and peace of cheerful souls, in the shade of those interwoven curls, in the feasting and festivity of the great king, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? We lost our colors in the light of your hue, 1,000,000 miles beyond the world of existence, the moment our souls became such idiots, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? In love an army has risen up under the shade of the king's canopy, and if my heart has fallen down along the way, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? Bending over in sorrow like the new moon, running headlong face down in the shadow, hearing a call from within the realm of heart, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? When that moon burned up Jupiter and broken into pieces the idols of Ævar, then, if the heart chose infidelity, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? If 18,000 worlds, O soul, were filled with my ramblings, and with that flame of my inward stare, O soul, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? If we could do justice to the path of love, and if our joy could be worthy of that moonlight and sunshine, and if we opened our eyes afresh onto that love, wouldn't it be for the face of that beauty? And by that wine whose fragrance caused my drunkenness, and all the wine glasses we smashed, and when we became free from the disgrace of self, wasn't it by the face of that beauty? The garden came alive in union, with a spring more beautiful than all 4 seasons, and shams of Tabriz as its very essence, wasn't it for the face of that beauty?
Indeed.
Indeed.
I've actually heard this one before. Meatloaf covered it.
Really?
Yeah, I do anything for love.
Oh.
But I won't do that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly how it is.
I was hoping for a Rocky Horror Picture Show reference, but I didn't get one. This was The Face of That Beauty by Rumi, as translated by Kabir Helminsky and Ahmad Rezwani.
Yeah, if we don't have the translations on there, we will get called out.
Crucified!
Knowledge Lost is pissed when we do not have those translation throwouts. Do you have a favorite line from this?
Do you have 3 good things and 3 bad things?
I do, but fuck me, my notebook's over there, so 522, I'm going to put an edit mark. God damn it. God damn it.
How the fuck did you do that?
God damn it.
I was sitting here, while I was reading, I was like, he doesn't have his notebook in his
Here's the
lap.
thing, I remembered when I was reading, that's when I stumbled. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, I saw you look over, I was like, Dalton, keep your patience.
All right, put an edit mark in there, not the first time I've done that.
Shit, man.
My bad. Carry on.
So 3 good things, 3 bad things. What are your 3 good?
Okay. Beautiful imagery in this.
Okay.
Absolutely wonderful imagery. This is the definition of the lengths someone is willing to go for something they love.
Yes.
This is defying the odds. This is doing what must be done for the face of that beauty. However you want to take what the beauty is, we'll get there.
The essence of romantic.
How old is this poem?
Written in the 1200s at some time.
Okay. Doesn't read like that.
No.
Doesn't read like that at all. Very refreshing for an ancient poem.
Yes.
So those are my good things. Good for you.
It's hard to do repetition this well. As someone who's written a lot of poetry in his life, reading this, the first 2 times that wasn't it for the face of that beauty came up, I was like, this is going to be one of those.
It's not bad.
But the repetition's done extremely well.
Okay.
You read the, you don't read repetition, you read it as a different line every time it comes up.
Okay.
2, this feels a lot like that song with Eminem and Rihanna. Just gonna stand there and watch you burn, or I don't remember how it goes. I think that's a good thing.
Okay. I'm gonna stick with my meatloaf reference, but I'll give it to you.
Okay. I'm normally turned off by couplets in poetry, but it keeps you moving in this poem.
Okay.
Because you're wondering where that next couplet is going.
Okay.
3 bad.
Bad things. This seems very cut and dry. There's not a lot here. No, I mean, I've dug and it's just what you see is what you get. You can poke a little bit, but this isn't like turning up I wander as lonely as a cloud.
Okay. I don't know if we got there. I won't say it's not in here.
Okay.
But I know I certainly didn't get there.
Okay. Now, you did mention that this does repetition very well.
Yes.
I would like to do as a bad note, if you are not versed in reading older poetry, there's a lot of elements of older poetry, such as repetition, they're going to turn you off. And I didn't take a lot from this one. This was a read that I was like, all right, not going to change my life today.
Okay. My bad things, by today's standards and expectations, this poem is a bit trite.
Okay.
I think it's important to keep in mind that this was written in the 1200s. Like Nostradamus, this feels like it was written about everything and nothing, right? Like some of the references are so vague that it seems like this might not be about even a real love.
Okay.
Right? If you're not giving Rumi the credit that is due, this could be about anything, and it could be about nothing that ever actually happened. And 3, the, and that. That.
Yeah.
There are 22 couplets, there are 29 these, and 21 that's.
A man by the numbers and the statistics.
Yes, well, if you can't have numbers, it's very hard to prove something. So, did you have a favorite quote?
I'm glad you said quote, because I think it's almost impossible to say favorite line with this, because you have to use a couple lines together. If we could do justice to the path of love, and if our joy could be worthy of that moonlight and sunshine, and if we opened our eyes afresh onto that love, wouldn't it be for the face of that beauty?
Okay.
I think that's where it's at.
You chose the quote right before mine.
Okay.
And by that wine whose fragrance caused my drunkenness, and all the wine glasses we smashed, And when we became free from the disgrace of self, wasn't it by the face of that beauty? For me, that's the best pair of couplets in here.
I like yours a lot because you get a very modern element from that when you read it.
Right.
Now, I'm sure it meant something completely different in the 1200s. Or did it?
What are you taking from it?
Well, that's the thing. And by the wine whose fragrance caused my drunkenness and all the wine glasses we smashed. And when we become free from the disgrace of self, would it be for the face of that beauty? However he has a word, wasn't it by the face of that beauty?
By the face of that beauty this time.
I like that. Maybe that's just my sweet hipster lifestyle of saying, let's go out, let's drink too much, let's free ourselves from the disgrace of who we are.
Is that what's said there?
That's how I like to say it is there.
That's not what's said there.
You don't like it, though.
And by that wine whose fragrance caused my drunkenness, and all the wine glasses we smashed. We got drunk and pissed off, baby.
Yeah!
We fought.
Yes!
And we became free from the disgrace of self. Because it's only when you're angry that you're saying the things that you truly mean.
Oh, but it's by those wine glasses, and it's by the fragrance of that drunkenness that got you to that level.
It is by the ownership of love, no?
Yes. But see, that's the thing. It's that good drunken argument. That has been my argument for the workforce for a long time. That is why a company Christmas party is the greatest thing that a company can do for morale. Let's all get pissed off one night, baby. Let's argue, let's fight, let's beat the living hell out of each other, and let's all go go back to work the next day better people.
Okay.
You need that.
Right. But that is not just lovey-dovey. This is not, because the wine whose fragrance caused my drunkenness. You're speaking about your love.
Okay.
Right. And all the wine glasses we smashed. So extend that metaphor from you're the wine that makes me drunk to you're the wine that makes me destroy things as well.
There's a full spectrum of emotion.
I get angry with jealousy and smash, right?
Okay.
And then we become free from the self, become free from the disgrace of self. Because we all walk around in this facade, do we not?
Oh, this is true.
This is the face that I put on for people. This is the face that I put on for work. This is the face that I put on for family. But when you're mad, no matter where you're at, you're the same dude. Right? You become that one guy when you're mad that reduces you to your baser elements, and when you share that with someone, it is an intimate moment.
It is. It is. You're at your most vulnerable, I think. And we've had this conversation a lot of times before, the persona you put on in different environments. And I'm notorious for changing.
Yeah.
You make fun of me for it all the time. But we were just talking earlier today that if we're ever at some point where we're meeting other booktubers, we're like, I hope we're not disappointed. Like, we're not as awesome as we pretend to be. We kind of suck as people.
Here's the thing. I don't pretend to be. I put it out there on a regular basis that I am boring.
Yes.
And people are like, oh, that's funny. That's hilarious. He doesn't have the internet.
Yes.
Right?
But here, having the internet, and when people are like, oh, we're going to go out tonight, we're going to do this, I'm like, no, I'm just going to sit home and read. I'm going to go to bed at 9:30.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you hipster. I'm like, no, seriously, that's what I'm doing. I don't want people today. So there is that facade, and I like that. That's a good thing to bring up from this, and I do like the whole spectrum of emotion that you get from that little piece. So bravo, sir.
Right.
What is the beauty?
How do you mean? Define your question.
What is the face of that beauty?
Use your words and tell me.
Are we talking about love? Are we talking about a person? Are we talking about doing something for a cause?
Or glory, right?
For glory.
Right.
If you change anything like that, let me just take a line randomly. Bending over in sorrow like the new moon, running headlong, face down like the shadow, hearing the call from within the realm of the heart, wasn't it for the face of glory? Changes it completely.
Does it, though?
I think it does.
Well, explain. Tell me how.
That simple choice of words, and maybe it's beauty, maybe it's glory, maybe it's interchangeable, it makes you read it differently. I read that with more gusto. I read that running into the trenches. It changes things to it. So what is Rumi saying is the face of that beauty?
For me, this poem was literal and a love poem. This is my first exposure to a full-length Rumi poem. So I do not have the tools. Also, I don't know much about where he was from, what
Correct.
these references would mean to him. But to me, this was a love poem.
Okay.
And Rumi is often expressed in that way,
Yes.
as a literal love poem.
This is actually grouped into the
Ecstasy.
ecstasy. There's what we have: the past, transformation, the truth hidden within existence. This is ecstasy.
Yes.
So yeah, I think you could be right, and I think that was one of my negative points. Is it's very cut and dry. This could be cut and dry love poem, which is a characteristic of that time frame. Ancient poetry. It's very straight-laced, very forward. But I think you can find a lot more once you start changing the word beauty.
Okay, so change it to something that would mean something to you.
That would mean something to me in random line. The calm and peace of cheerful souls in the shade of those interwoven curls, in the feasting and festivities of the great king. Wasn't it for the face of knowledge? Anything that is added in there changes this poem completely. And I think whatever you adhere to beauty, whether it be glory, whether it be knowledge, whether it be tequila shooters on Tuesday, half price.
Sounds good.
It changes it.
It changes it, or it remains the same. Because you seem to be making conflicting arguments there.
It remains the same, yes.
Okay.
But it changes the emotional appeal for the reader.
So you believe, okay, well, I think that part of that is because when you say that beauty, you are personifying something.
Yes.
So do you believe that removing the personification is doing that?
And maybe that's the argument I'm getting at.
So if we were to, okay, say glory.
Yes.
Glory, gold, glory, and God, right? Those were the three, that's why...
America.
Well, why America was sort of discovered was gold, glory, and God. But when you think of glory, it becomes paternalistic, right?
Okay.
So if we were replacing beauty with something masculine, with the father, it was just a glance, but it became the fountain that drowned my heart. If the power of that love made me seem like a pagan, wasn't it for the face of my father? Does that change things?
Again, I think we're in the same argument. Does it change this piece? No, because it's whatever you adhere to beauty. But does it change your direct emotional appeal from just a cut and dry love poem to, oh, there's a little something more there? I think yes. And maybe the best word is to say this poem is adaptive. Because even if we read it as a cut and dry love poem, it's about what you love. So this poem really adapts for each reader.
Not what you love, but who you love, right?
Whatever you wanna make there.
What I'm asking though is the fact that this poem could be about something besides a person. Does the switch there, does toggling that switch change the way with which you enjoy this poem?
I think yes.
Okay.
I think taking away considering
a literal person
and adding in an ideal does change this poem for me.
Does it degrade it?
Does it degrade it? No. If anything, I think it improves it for me.
Really?
I think so.
So the fact that this could be a straightforward love poem degrades it for you?
It wasn't as moving to me, no.
Okay.
But it's until I've changed it a little bit in my mind, or even just associated the word beauty with something else, then you find more to it.
So even though this poem is worship in flaw, it is not straightforward, sweet Jesus, this girl is beautiful, I love her.
I want to hope not.
Despite the fact that it's not that, despite the fact that it is, there's the verse we went over, and all the wine glasses we smashed. Despite the fact that that's in there and there is emotional complexity, the fact that it would be about a regular, real person degrades it.
Maybe I'm just a pissy little cynical asshole this week, but I think it does.
Okay,
I want that idealism in it.
Okay.
Now, if you want to say that this is about a literal person and this is one man not really pining, but saying my entire life is for this person, is that powerful? Yes. Is there a lot to it? Does it still say a lot? Absolutely.
Yes.
There's a lot of play on human emotion. We talked about that a little bit. Does it change it? not really for me.
Okay.
It's really about breaking down what you hold as your ideal, what you truly love.
Okay.
My fiance is watching this right now calling me an asshole, but that's okay. That's okay.
Here's something I would like to explore briefly. The first 4 lines. It was just a glance, but it became a fountain that drowned my heart. If the power of that love made me like a pagan, wasn't it for the face of that beauty? How many times would you consider yourself having been in love? I mean, just off the top of your head.
A few times. A couple.
A couple.
Absolutely.
Okay, so when you first saw that person, was it different than first seeing someone else? Was there a power behind that first glance, that just a glance?
I think so.
Or was there obviously, anytime that you consider yourself in love with someone, there is a growth of emotion.
Yes.
But
that first glance, that first meeting of someone.
yes.
Maybe it is the hopeless romantic in me, but yes, I think so. There is a primal draw to that person.
I may be hopeless, but I don't know that I'm romantic.
Yeah?
And every relationship where I've considered myself in love, there is an impact to that first glance, right? The first time you see someone,
Yes.
and there's something there.
Yeah.
And I wonder what that mechanism is within the human condition.
That's a very interesting question. Have I told you of how I met my fiance?
No.
Okay, I will probably get in trouble for sharing this story on a spectrum. However, I was at a mutual friend's house. We were having a bit of a celebration. I was with another woman at the time. Things were not really going well in that relationship. Enter current fiance, who I had never met, and I was immediately stricken with her. Spent our night drinking, enjoying each other's company, and former relationship drove me home that day as I spent the night drunken battling about how wonderful fiance was and how she was just the perfect person. That totally did not help the already failing relationship that was.
Well, of course not.
But no, I think immediately I was very stricken with this woman. And I think that is a first glance attraction thing.
So you don't get a second chance to make a first impression, right?
I don't want to say no, but I think there's a lot to be said about the first interaction.
Yeah. But when we look at things, okay, chick flicks, for
Yes.
example, the guy that wins in the end is never the guy the main character was in love with in the first 5 minutes of the film.
Correct.
So that is art and media going against what feels like human nature, is it not?
Yeah.
And that's what,
so.
I mean, 1200, that was referenced here. It was just a glance, but it became the fountain that drowned my heart.
Well, let's take love and people out of this. When you first read a story, a poem, whatever you want to read, that just clicks with you, that first read through is just magic.
Yeah.
Just magic. And it holds with you.
Now, I can speak about this a lot better than relationships. Fight Club, the first time I picked up Fight Club, I was in love. But there are other pieces. Hemingway, hated Hemingway at
It
first.
takes a couple tries.
Yeah.
If you look at it from a relationship, let's flip back.
So you're saying that Hemingway only hurts the first time?
Hemingway's an acquired taste. Because let's think about it here. If you met old Chucky P in the bar, you'd probably get along, have a couple laughs, be a good night. You met Hemingway in the bar, he's going to punch you.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a good first meeting.
Right.
So, very indicative of the person. Anything else you want to say about this? I think we're going to get into a huge philosophical debate that we would like to save for another channel if we get into human emotion too much.
You know, this was, like I say, my first exposure to Rumi as a full poem. Kelly introduced me to Rumi, if you're watching this. I don't know how many times I read through a full poem of Rumi, but this is the first time that I consciously sat down to read a full poem of Rumi. We picked this basically at random, right? We picked up the collection.
We probably picked like the worst one in here, but that's okay.
But I'm not disappointed, are you?
I'm not disappointed, but I'm not terribly impressed.
Okay.
Is it enough to say, no, I'm good with Rumi? Absolutely not. I'd like to give him another chance, but it was okay.
Okay, so after the discussion of that first little bit and the part that I picked, did that improve the poem for you?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to go ahead and give my rating now. I originally was going to give this an 80. Not moved by it. After talking a little bit about human emotion and things about that, I think I'll bump it to 84. I'm still not going to high grade it, though.
Wow, okay. Surprising to me because I give this 83 Eminem albums out of 100.
Look at that.
Yeah.
We're always pretty close. I very rarely go higher than you, but
Right.
83, 84, it's not bad.
I talked you into a higher rating than myself.
You did. I felt better.
I should sell used cars.
You should, actually. What would you suggest with this piece?
You know, the last poem we did, I suggested John Donne, right?
Okay.
I'm going to go there again. Elegy 18, Love's Progress.
Okay.
I think would roll for you in very much the same fashion that this poem does.
Rumi, easily available online.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay $17 for the pretty copy that Adrian makes you get. But I'm going to give you another poem, readily available. Compare, contrast. She Walks in Beauty, Lord Byron.
Okay.
I think that's a good transition here. So we'll see how that goes. First experience with Rumi, one down.
Yes.
1,500 to go. So, if you like this and you like some discussion about poetry in your booktube life, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Give us a like as well. We really appreciate that.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter at StripCover, which is an ever-growing booktube phenomenon.
Yes.
As well as on Facebook at StripCoverLit. We are also on instead of Gram.
It's been a while since you've thrown out the Instagram, so
I don't remember it.
Look at you.
What is it?
Strip Cover Lit?
StripCoverLit on Instagram.